What is Chrysler? It's a question that I think is pretty fair at this point. The brand only has one model. You're looking at it, the Pacifica. It's a minivan, so you'd think that's what Chrysler is all about. But recently we learned that Chrysler is about to launch a couple of new models, and they're all going to be SUVs. So again, I ask, what is Chrysler? That's the subject of today's video. You're watching Autoblog. Now we're going to begin this video by taking a look at the only product that Chrysler currently makes, the Pacifica, which just got a facelift for the 2027 model year. And what a facelift it is, because they started with the face. That is the biggest difference between this and last year's Pacifica. You get this totally new front end here. It looks radically different from the outgoing Pacifica. This is the front end that we are going to start seeing on more Chrysler models. We've got this illuminated Chrysler logo that we're going to start seeing on other Chrysler models. It's pretty cool looking. I think I'm a little bit split on the design. It's definitely more futuristic than the outgoing Pacifica. Maybe I just need to see it out and about more. I'm definitely loving this blue color. It looks really cool, especially on this limited trim with the black package. You can also get it in this really cool red with the black package. That is a really nice look. I think it really kind of just makes this look like a very sporty minivan, which, you know, sporty and minivan doesn't typically go together, but, you know, it's not too bad. Other than that, the Pacifica hasn't really changed all that much on the outside. There are some new wheel options, both on this limited trim and on the top Pinnacle trim, but aside from that, you're really not going to see too much difference here on the outside. So don't expect to see just like that much of a change in terms of like under the hood. The hybrid, the plug-in hybrid is gone now. The tax credit is gone for that. So I'm really not too surprised to see that gone from the lineup. So remember, this is a facelift. This is not a total redesign. Now we're going to take a look at the Pinnacle trim. This is the most luxurious version of the Pacifica. I want to show you the inside of this one because that's where they've done more of the changes here on the inside. We've got this new blue agave trim on the inside, this gorgeous new blue agave Napa leather, which is absolutely gorgeous. We've got kind of this nice perforation to it as well, kind of this copper piping as well, which just pairs really well with the blue here. Heated and ventilated seats up here in the front. We've also got kind of a different console here on the Pinnacle trim as well, a little bit different from what you're going to see on other Pacifica models. So it is a really nice cabin here, although this is on the upper end of what you're going to see from Pacifica trims. Very comfy seats here with a really nice thick steering wheel. We've got typical classic analog gauges here, actually. Not a full digital screen as we fire it up and I shut the radio off. Let me actually just go ahead and mute it there. But we do have a decent sized touchscreen, but we do have plenty of buttons and knobs down here. So parents, that is a nice touch as well. We've also got some decent storage down here as well with some nice cup holders down here. We also have all of our controls for the sliding doors and everything here as well. One of the nice touches in here as well, if I click on the rear seat button and wait for it to load, is we do have a rear entertainment system back there that they've decoupled from one of the safety packages, so you don't have to get that along with the safety package as well. So you can just get that, or you can just get the safety package, which is kind of a nice touch. They also have this new turn signal camera. That is something new that they've added for the 2027 model year. So they've added some nice safety here as well. We still have some really cool stuff here, including the fam cam. This is a really nice feature here on the Pacifica. You can actually like zoom in on the different seats and see what your kids are up to. This is something the Pacifica has had for a while now, but again, it is just something that people really love about the Pacifica, and it's what makes it such a good minivan. And yeah, I really do like the Pacifica in general. This is a really nice minivan, but I think I've got to show you what's in the back, because that is what makes this so special as a family vehicle. So let's go ahead and check it out. The Pinnacle does have slightly nicer captain's chairs than what we're going to get in other versions of this car. So we do have a more plush seat. We've got some nice armrests here as well. These are heated seats back here as well. I'm gonna go ahead and shut it because they just started doing some lawn mowing outside. We've got these really nice screens, and these are actually Amazon Fire Sticks as well. So your kids are going to have access to anything they would on the Fire Sticks, including Netflix, Hulu, YouTube. So that is awesome. You know, I think your kids are absolutely going to love that. They can also bring a gaming console with them because there's an HDMI port right here. So really great there. The only disadvantage of the Pinnacle trim is that these seats are a little bit bigger, so you don't have the ability to go stow and go and put these seats away. But the third row does have the ability to go away, so that is really nice. And if I show you that right now, if I just kind of crawl back here, this seat has plenty of space. I can show you I have plenty of leg room back here. No problems fitting back here. There's my fam cam up there at the top. I've even got some sunshades here on my windows as well. And I also have a nice little recliner here. These are power seats here on the Pinnacle. I even have some USBs back here, so I have power seats that I can use to recline myself here in the third row. Here on the Pinnacle trim, you'll see how easy it is to fold down this third row seat. All you have to do is just click one button right here that says Stow, and you'll watch the magic happen. The seats will fold, they'll tilt, they'll do all of the stuff you need to go away, all in one kind of cool fluid motion. Love watching that happen. And then boom, now you have all of your storage. Like I mentioned, those second row seats are not going to go away, at least not in a stow and go fashion. You can remove them. It is going to be a little bit harder than the stow and go on the other trim levels, but that is still a huge amount of space here in the Pacifica. Now, if you were to get the Pacifica in one of the other trim levels, here is the magic of this minivan compared to others: the stow and go seat. Now, this is something that you cannot get in any other minivan, and that is the ability to store this seat away without having to fully remove it. You get this storage area here underneath the floor of the seat where you can actually put the seat away like so. So you just kind of fold it, and then it kind of collapses like so. And then you just kind of take the floor like this, and it covers over like so. And now you have the entire length of the van all the way up to the front seats to store stuff. This is something that you don't get in any of the Pacifica's competitors. And with about 140 cubic feet of space back here, I could see why you'd want to buy the Pacifica over the competitors. Even though they don't have the hybrid trim anymore, the stow and go seating alone makes the Pacifica a viable option in the minivan segment. Now, in our conversation of what is Chrysler, we have to talk about what is Chrysler right now. And right now it is just this, the Pacifica. And the Pacifica is kind of what it has been for a really long time now. A pretty nice minivan. It doesn't have the plug-in hybrid anymore, which is kind of fine. The plug-in hybrid system on that was kind of a basic one. You had like 30 miles of electric range, but Chrysler didn't allow you to decide when you wanted to deploy the electric range. So you kind of just used it, and then it was gone as soon as you left your house. You couldn't like save it for later. So it was kind of basic in that regard. So we've just got our Pentastar V6 engine, tried and true, with a 9-speed automatic. You can get it with front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive if you live somewhere cold. So the all-wheel drive is pretty nice on this car. It's not going to win any drag races, but it is very comfortable and quiet in here. We've got active noise cancellation going on here that does work really well. And it is a very solid vehicle. It's much quieter than the Toyota Sienna. It's not as fuel efficient as the Sienna because that's a hybrid, and the Kia Carnival offers a hybrid. And it's not quite as sporty as dynamic as the Honda Odyssey, but it's somewhere in the middle, and I think your family is going to find it quite comfortable. I would really like to see what Chrysler is going to do with the next generation of Pacifica, because we know that Pacifica is part of the plan for the future. There is going to be another one. I'd like to see them bring back a hybrid, not a plug-in this time. I'd like to see it either be a normal hybrid that you don't have to plug in, or maybe one of those E-REVs, the extended range electric vehicles. I know Ram and Jeep are both getting an E-REV, much bigger E-REVs, but that could potentially be a pretty good idea for the minivan segment. If they do a bigger battery than what you would typically get from a PHEV, now instead of 30 miles, you might get 100 or even 150 miles on electric. That's great because you could drive your family around on all electric power. That's great. It's super smooth. You could just plug it in every day. And then when you need to take a road trip, fire on the gas generator and you could go 500, 600, 700 miles on a single tank. Perfect application for something like a minivan. So Chrysler, E-REV, minivan, make it happen. I think that's what you need for the next generation Pacifica. In my personal opinion, use that Hurricane turbocharged 4-cylinder under the hood as your generator, because you don't need the towing loads that you need from the Ram and the Jeep that you are doing, the Grand Wagoneer. So that's a pretty good idea in my mind. But we're also talking a little bit about the future in this video. And so far, we know that the future, besides the Pacifica, is going to be the Airflow. We've been seeing this car teased all over the place as a concept, but it's not going to look quite like the concept. We saw like a little teaser image. We think it's going to look something like that. And it's going to be a little crossover, probably about the same size as a Toyota RAV4, which is something Chrysler has desperately needed for a while now. It'll probably come with multiple powertrains. I'm guessing there's going to be a hybrid, probably an electric version. They're saying it'll have 800 volt, which would be really great for Chrysler, even though EVs are not the best right now. So I'm excited to see what the Airflow finally turns into. There's also going to be an even smaller one called the Aircross. I think these are both going to be pretty affordable cars. I think the Airflow is going to be under 40 grand. The Aircross is going to be under 30 grand. So again, affordable crossovers, not a bad idea, but I want to pitch to you my idea for a really unique Chrysler, and I'm actually going to waste some water and use AI for what I think is a really good purpose. I am going to create an all-minivan lineup for Chrysler that I think could be really cool. And I want to hear if you think that my idea is a really interesting one. So we know there's going to be the Pacifica, right? That's going to be your volume seller, the one that's going to cater to the families. But what if you don't need something quite as big as the Pacifica? Well, a number of years ago, Mazda tried to offer a smaller minivan in the form of the Mazda 5, and it honestly wasn't a very big success. I don't think America was quite ready for a vehicle like that back when Mazda tried it, and I think that was for a few different reasons. I think gasoline wasn't really that expensive at the time, and I think the Mazda 5 just didn't have the flexible seating capability that people really would have needed, and I really honestly just don't think it was that cheap. And I think that Chrysler could do this in the perfect way. If they offered some kind of removable seat, whether it be stow and go or just the seats come out, if they could offer a hybrid that gets 30 or even 35 miles to the gallon out of it, maybe the hybrid system that's currently in the Jeep Cherokee that's licensed from Toyota. It doesn't even have to be all that powerful either. But just a smaller package than the Pacifica, because not everybody needs a vehicle that is this big, you know, but they might want the sliding doors. They might want something with more storage space than something like a Toyota RAV4, or even some of the mid-size options, you know, but something that has 6 or even 7 seats that's totally flexible that they can use, that still gets great fuel economy for their family. And you have good names for it. You could bring back the Voyager name for that. You could bring back the Caravan name for that. I really just think that this would be the perfect idea. If you could bring that back and you could make it cost like $29,000 or $30,000, you would have an absolute slam dunk that nobody else wants. If you see the kind of buzz that these Chinese vans are getting and the Japanese K-vans are getting, everybody wants a Japanese K-van, or at least they think they want a Japanese K-van until they drive one. They're really tiny, they're slow. What Chrysler could do is they could offer people what they think they want as a Japanese K-van, but they could do it better and they could do it new. Now, the second thing that I'm going to propose is something above the Pacifica. Bring back the Town and Country, or maybe even bring back the Aspen name. The Aspen name would actually be a really good one because Aspen is a very fancy place, and do a luxury minivan. This is where you could do, you know, the Hurricane Inline 6, you could do a super powerful EV, you could do the E-REV that I've been telling you about because, you know, an electrified powertrain would really make sense here, but this is where you go all out on the features. You offer a big sliding TV in the back, you offer reclining massage chairs. You could do one that's like kind of close to the Chrysler Pacifica Pinnacle, like, you know, where you just have kind of nice seats and you still have a third row. So you could offer kind of like a nice version that still has, you know, 6 seats, right? And then you offer the crazy version that's like $100,000 that has 4 seats and like a crazy TV and a glass partition and whatever. And you go, here we are, we're Chrysler. You know what you could even do? You could bring back the Imperial name for it. That would just be, you could call it like the Aspen Imperial or something really nuts if you wanted to go full crazy into it. And you could be like, here we go, minivan is full luxury. Do you know how crazy it would be? Like, you could compete with the Toyota Century, you could compete with Cadillac if you just brought back and did a full luxury minivan, because a minivan is honestly one of the best places to put luxury because you just have so much space. You have more space to recline, you have more space to put amenities. You know, I'm really upset that Lexus hasn't brought us the LM and Toyota hasn't brought over the Alphard because they are such luxurious vehicles. Mercedes is actually bringing over its own luxury minivan called the VLE, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be more luxurious, I think, than an Escalade. And I think once that idea catches on, Chrysler is going to be upset that it didn't take my idea. And people are going to come back and watch this video, and they're going to see that Jared from Autoblog was right.